All right, we are set to go. Cracking afternoon into evening for footy. Twilight football action from the Gabba starts with a beautiful bounce, and Dawson Simpson straight into the act. Got the tap down to Joel Corey, who took a long time to release it. Jimmy Bartell back from the States into the thick of it, and Joel Selwood lays a big tackle, and it's rewarded straight away on Rich. So some good intent from the Cats. Selwood sets it up high. Hawkins, who kicked 6 here last year in the pouring rain, gets it to ground. Every which way went Murdoch. Kept everyone guessing, and now we're going to have a bounce.
Well, Pepfel had to go on that occasion, but the punch was right back into the corridor. He needed to put a big ball through the behinds, or at least get it towards the boundary line.
As you can see, it's a vacant square. The Cats happened to dribble it on to their boot, which they didn't, but they're set up pretty well. This is what Kingy talked about pre-match. Quick kick in from Mackie to the square, and just out of the outstretched hands of Tom Hawkins.
Yeah, good press up by the Cats there. A nice bit of reading by Andrew Mackie, and it's clear that they think they've got an advantage deep. They've got Hawkins, they've got the J-Pod down there. I think they want to give them every opportunity to get it in deep and to get them at least to compete or take a mark.
Yes, Blitzarve starting in the forward half as well, Gerard, so there's plenty of height, isn't there?
Well, I think it's a key strategy coming in, and as you said, it is perfect conditions for taking pack marks.
Well, Simpson got into it, but couldn't take the mark.
See, there's 2 overhead tackles. Surely one's going to be paid.
And one is paid, and it goes to Joel Selwood. Quick to move it on to Steve Johnson. Off to the left, setting it, it's one-on-one. It's Merritt in the wrestle with Hawkins. Holding Geelong.
Oh. Well, he was pretty close to it, the umpires. It'll be really interesting to see how it comes up. Daniel Merritt will be perplexed. We know that's about the only certainty.
We'll have a look again, because Tom Hawkins seemed to turn away from the flight of the ball as well. So we'll see if he keeps his head turned with his eyes focused on the ball.
It was an unusual one, as you said, though, Jono, because it was Hawkins that was looking away from the ball and looking at his goal.
Right there, don't go in.
The umpire had a perfect view of it.
29-7 this year for Tom Hawkins. Accuracy has not been an issue, the issue that it was in the past. And this is for his 199th goal in AFL football. You can chalk it up.
And good representation by the Cats fans here, Jono. There's plenty, obviously, of used the opportunity to come up to the Gold Coast. Let's take a look at that free kick. I think Tom would consider himself reasonably lucky.
Yeah, well, he did keep his eyes on the flight of the ball, so that's what the umpires looked towards as well. But Merritt has some argument there, shakes their head in disappointment. Back into the lineup today, 1 goal already against his name.
Right to go, boys.
So the Cats with the first of the afternoon. Brisbane have put a fair bit of talent in their forward line as well. Pearce Hanley starting up in their forward half, along with the 200-gamer McGrath, and of course Brown and Lyle. But they're not seeing a lot of action so far. It's all Geelong. Steve Johnson decided to handball to Mitch Duncan. A low flight ball for Hawkins again. The powerhouse doesn't mark it, but his work was pretty good on the ground level. Well done, Patful, to get the fist in. Yo off to Merritt.
Geez, the pressure at Geelong really superb in this early part of the game. They just cannot get the ball here, the Lions.
Steve Johnson with one of his trademark look-away handballs. Unfortunately for him, it went straight to the Lions. Look at the energy from Motlop. That was, well, I would have thought close to being holding the ball. Brilliant run-down tackle. Dawson Simpson follows up hard. Now Clark, who's shown a bit, goes in, but he too stripped of it. Blitzarves really panics for a young player, very new in the game. Mackie with a thumping kick. What a start from Geelong.
They're on fire, Gerard, but it was 2 young players with the tackles. Motlop with the first run-down tackle on Simon Black, and then it was Duncan who was involved here with a big tackle on Clark. Ball spills out, Blitzarves with some composure, and Mackie with the long goal.
Stay tuned, folks. The Cats are on, and when they're on, they are worth travelling thousands of miles to watch. And if you can't, just sit back and watch it on the screen in front of you.
Sorry, lads. One hold, boys. Arms down.
Well, guys, we talk about Dawson Simpson at the start of the game with Chris Scott, and is this a great opportunity for him to put his hand up going into the back end of the season, and already he's got 2 great centre bounce clearance tap outs.
And another against Leuenberg, of course, who re-signed during the week. Quick kick from Kelly. Talk about pressure being applied onto the Brisbane backline. Murdoch, here's Rich, showing some real good leadership. Got on top of the footy, got it moving quickly. Golby from Black, out to Doherty on the half back line for the Lions. It's a low ball. They need to win it. Just a little bit of footy, get some confidence. Lyle, 3 goals last week, a little bit slow to react, but at least he kept it in Brisbane hands. Cats tackling, pressure has been fierce and intense so far of halfback Taylor Hunt. And Enright, one of the most consistent players probably ever to play the game.
That was a difficult mark, actually. That ball moved metres.
He had the floater going.
Usually it's in the centre square when that happens at this ground.
Bit of Glenn McGrath action.
That's right.
Or maybe Damien Fleming. Back to the middle. Under pressure the Lions, as we said so far, but starting to handle the ball well now. Rich was able to dab it short. The build-up continues. Adcock and Lyle in great shape to mark. It was only just there, but it's a mark.
Oh, definitely a mark. And quite clearly you can see who the danger man is, Jono, for the Brisbane Lions. It's Daniel Rich off that halfback. He won his own ball about a minute or so ago, and this time he's on the end of it. But when he gets it, something happens. A good kick, and well spotted by Jed Adcock.
Smart use as well from Rich when you think that Brisbane defenders would have gone back thinking this ball's going to go long. Initially, he dropped the eyes and hit the short target. So therefore, if he can get that right with the long and short today, he'll keep them guessing all day long.
Jordan Lyle kicked the first goal of the game last week and the last after the siren. Kicked 3 for the day and has shown some real promise. And he rams that through. Important settler for the Lions at home.
Well, that's exactly what they needed, and now they'll go back. And if they can get the next one, then all of a sudden we find out whether the exuberance of the Cats, Jono, has been manufactured or whether it's deep-seated, because they've come out and absolutely dominated this game up until that last passage of play. And it was a good passage of play. The game opened up for them. They went straight down the middle. Lyle crisscrossed with Jonathan Brown, and importantly, he delivered.
So there you go, there's modern footy for you. The 2 blokes that caused the goal, Rich and Lyle, off.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It did appear as Jordan Murdoch was his man, and he was going to have to watch him like a hawk, but we'll find out what happens when he's back on the ground.
Well, they've got to sort these centre clearances out. This is better from the Lions. You don't have to win the tap, but you've got to get that possession and get it out.
It was Leicester that got them into 50. And now it's Bartel.
Yeah, mate, got it.
Fresh from some playoff action in the NBA. Oh.
Just reset, Mark, you're right on now. Let him run.
Sorko followed Kelly through, so it wasn't 50. Bartel back to the centre of the ground, so it's direct route for the Cats. Big presence in the air from Leuenberger.
Let him go back now. 50.
Well, I don't think Joel Corey's got much to complain about, really. It was a bit odd.
No, he grabbed and Leuenberger, I think at that stage didn't think he would be claimed the mark.
Maybe.
He claimed the mark. The umpire did warn him to let go. Held on for that split second. The umpire pings him.
I think you'll find, boys, he did maybe feign a handball to play on, but until the umpire calls it, as we know, it's not play on.
Well, the explanation was spot on from the umpire. Then you weren't in the marking contest. You can't claim him.
So Leuenberger 7 goals, 4 to his name. Kicked a bag of 3 against Melbourne early in the year. And that one is mighty close.
Hell of a kick, though, for a big bloke. That's a major roost. Looked like he was coming back. And the crowd behind the goals thought so. They were ready to explode.
Josh Hunt been back for a month for the Cats. Still finding his feet, but has started to look like it in the last couple of weeks. Thumping kick. Johnson has to go in the air against Patfull. Brought it to ground.
They've got the slingshot ready. They've pushed their tools up the ground. And they've got Motlop ready to go one-on-one straight to goal.
Good circling work by the Lions. Wouldn't let the Cats out. But there's the fend-off high.
Fend off, Selwood.
And a fair decision by the umpire. He came in legitimately, Selwood, and the elbow went up from Big Daniel Merritt.
Steve Johnson let the traffic go one way, and of course he went the other. And down it goes to full forward. Duncan or Blitzars were the Cats' best chances. Leuenberger has to be everywhere. Merritt. Oh, he turned at just the right moment there. Fumble. There's never a good moment for that, but the last line can be treacherous. Quick kick, Adcock. Back to half back. Staker had to work hard against Hunt. Steve Johnson there ready to take.
Oh, good kick.
It was Zorko to centre half forward. McGrath, the milestone man. And he certainly left Hunt in his wake, and he can go. And what a way to start a milestone. Then a bounce, and goal.
Open forward line once again for the Brisbane Lions. That break off half back, and the ball hit the deck, and McGrath was first to respond. They get away with one here. Merritt strong in the tackle, Jared, and then it was clean use after this from Golby to get that clean use back through the corridor of the ground, and in the end it was McGrath here. We'll see on screen take on Lonigan and run in and kick a huge barrel into the third tier.
Let's go, Bucky.
So stay tuned, folks. The Cats are on, but so too are the Brisbane Lions.
Yes.
2 goals apiece, which means one thing, Anthony, we've got the close one.
Well, we have, Jared, and we've got the nice weather too. I know it's belting down over in Perth, but beautiful conditions here. Mackie, skyscraper. Duncan stays
nice
down.
punch from Rich.
And Rich having an impact as we've seen so far, and Zorko well up the ground again. So there's lots of room to manoeuvre in the forward line. Brown not quite. Hunt goes to ground.
Contact, Josh Hunt.
McGrath just rushed that one then on that occasion. He just needs to stand over Hunt, make him at least dribble the ball out, or he would have been pinged for holding the ball. He did need to dive in on Josh Hunt on that occasion.
Stokes off to Kelly. To half forward Hawkins. Didn't engage the body. Now Steve Motlop. Couldn't get the run of it. And the ball goes into one of the young boys watching on there, I think. A bit of an apology from Steve Motlop. He's caught one, the kid, I think. I know, he thinks something's funny anyway.
His mates are laughing anyway.
There's the free kick count. 6 to Geelong, none to Brisbane. It's early stage. Oh, Simon Black still doing it after all these years. Motlop, Yo, back to Black.
Play on.
Staker. Black again. Doherty manhandled. No, said the umpire. Motlop set to go again. Corey dabs to the 50. And the Cat skipper Joel Selwood has started in impressive fashion to the top of the goal square. And it's a behind. Interesting that Andrew Rains not chosen for Brisbane today. He would have been the logical choice to tag Selwood, but it doesn't look like they've gone for any real hard tags, Jared.
No, we spoke to Vossi and he talked about the balance of giving some younger players experience and keeping the old guys going.
Here's Daniel Rich again. Through the middle. Hanley first, then Rich. Getting into a dangerous position, and what a kick! Boom! It's through, and the Lions are in front.
Well, what a comeback by the Brisbane Lions. It looked like it was going to be a Tom Hawkins goal again. Here's the free kick that could well have been paid. All the crowd went up. There it is there, in fact. And they are ready to explode, the Brisbane Lions supporters here. They think they're getting a really bad deal from the umpires. So stay tuned for
Through the corridor again,
the
Jared.
next one. Straight down the middle from Daniel Rich, and good shepherding there as well from the great Zorko. So the question, Jono, is does Chris Scott react to the influence of Daniel Rich across that half-back line and start thinking about who's going to play a negative half-forward role on him?
Yeah, he has to, especially with the use at the moment going forward.
Talk about use out of the middle, though. An armchair ride by Dawson Simpson to Corey. Hawkins just not being able to cling on to the grabs thus far, so some credit to Merritt, even though he has given away the one free kick. And here's Rich again. Oh, whack! Steve Johnson has cleaned up Pierce Hanley, and the ball's gone Geelong's way through Stokes and away on the full.
Well, a couple of issues. They have got to sort out the centre clearances because Dawson Simpson is absolutely dominating. Let's take a look at this big bump. And it was a serious blow. Let's see whether it's to the head or not. It does look as if there is some contact, so that will be looked at closely through the week.
Take your time. Yeah, but he's right in the flight of the ball. Easy, it was a fair bump, boys.
Not well.
Easy. Yep, play on now, mate.
State the obvious, but they're going to play on now because he's been able to walk from the ground.
Move it on now, play on!
So Merritt hoping for Leuenberger. Good manoeuvring of the body to get into the position. Redden, Black, a handful in there for the Cats. Steve Johnson came through, just prodded it out to Bartel. The stand start. Hawkins and Merritt have attracted a lot of the footy so far. Murdoch, Golby, wraps him up.
Jordan,
And there's Pierce Hanley just recovering from that hit from Steve Johnson. And was responding okay to the doctor.
Simpson got it down again. This time, though, Staker. The Cats have got the one back. So there's Mackie, who's free for Geelong. It's a matter of who's going to do the most damage, I guess. Mackie, high ball. Again, it's Merritt and Hawkins. Again, there was some good assistance. Stokes, what a season he's had. Scampering after it. Got Motlop with him in tow. And there he is. Steve Motlop, skimming pass. Oh, Steve Johnson would have taken that, you think, 9.5 times out of 10. Motlop has to try and generate something else. Maloney closed in, and Yo knew exactly where the boundary was and found it. So good defensive pressure here by the Lions.
Pressure's been very good. Both sides have settled right into this game. It's high-paced at the moment, but Geelong's pressure forward of centre has been excellent to start with.
Simpson, not sure if you call that a hit out so much as a head out. The ball goes back out to a one-on-one. Hunt brought it to ground. Stokes. Christensen looking for a free, doesn't get it.
You got young Sam Mays playing on Andrew Mackie. He probably thinks that Mackie's playing on him and or Corey Enright. But when you're playing on guns like that, you've got to be very careful they don't kill you on the counter-attack. Ryan Lester also looks like he's running with Mackie, who's pushing forward hard.
Corey to Enright to Bartel. They've sorted out the winning of the football, but this extra Brisbane player is causing them some problems at the moment. It's Patfull now, and there is Brown. They can launch off half-back with some real purpose. Doherty through centre-half forward into open country, and it's Enright there first. Rockcliffe in hot pursuit, but Enright just knows his way around, and he finds Bartel scooting hard on the wing. A couple of options for Geelong, one of them Murdoch. Johnson better watch out. Rich was ready to close.
He's up and about, Daniel Rich, Jono.
No doubt about that.
That's what he needs to do as the spare. He needs to work a way to cut the ball off as well as be attracted through the corridor to use it by foot going forward. 2 Cats to 1, but they weren't really able to synchronise their plans there. And Rockcliffe got it going towards goal, but Leuenberger just couldn't clamp it when it mattered. Taylor Hunt. Tough mark for Podsy Adley. Excellent grab.
That strength and experience on young Clark.
Well, they're the hardest marks to take when you're running absolutely flat out. You don't get time to balance, and that was a really good conversion.
Prepared to loft it up to the wing. Well done, Black. And there's a free to Brisbane.
Wait for it.
Advantage taken by Brown, but it didn't turn out to be an advantage. Tough for Bartel. They're prepared to kick into the middle, and we know that with Geelong.
Mackie's pushing hard forward here. He is ready to go.
Got a second crack at it. And Guthrie has a long time to work out what to do with it, and he doesn't. Oh, he went for the big catch in the gully, and I think they'd be pretty disappointed with that, Geelong.
Well, Mackie worked hard, as you said, right across the
150 metres.
middle
But you know
of the
what
ground.
he didn't do, Jono? He didn't gesticulate. He didn't show his disappointment. And at times, I think when you've got a young player who's made a mistake, it's a discipline that makes a difference from senior players.
And umpire's going to call for a bounce. So I think that is one thing that Geelong have been good at. The way young players come into the club, the way they're treated by the Geelong senior players.
Well, Guthrie's also playing deep defence, so he busted his boiler as well, Jono, to get up there. So they just put that one down to the rub of the green.
Goal be able to probe it out. Tough for Staker, but they've done well. The Lions again, Redden, and they're on their way. Zorko. Weighted kick for Hanley. Great to see. He seems to have made a recovery. And Moons, you're in a great position there. Was that out of bounds or not?
I thought he was a little bit stiff there, Hanley. I thought he kept it. I thought he did a pretty good job. But we're talking about Rich and Mackie at the moment. They're both playing that spare man role for each team. And Rich has had the 8 possessions in the 1 goal. Mackie the 4 possessions in the 1 goal. But what we're now seeing is Mackie, as you called it, Jared, starting to be a little bit smarter, starting to be a little bit more proactive and push forward to try and make either Rich go to him or, like we saw then, get free inside 50 and hopefully get a shot on goal.
Adcock off, brilliantly read again by Selwood. He is playing a slashing game. Now Hawkins not that well positioned to have the shot, hence the handball, the extra one to Murdoch. Had to wait longer than he wanted to. Bit of a fumble, Golby. And the Cats started well, but they're just not as clean as they were when the whistle first went this afternoon. And the opening siren and Murdoch's gone.
Well, Patfull started that chain for the Brisbane Lions when Selwood gave the handball over the top to Hawkins. He was the one who closed up first, came off his man. The next player came up and helped out, and they were able to cause the ball to head out towards the boundary line. And a great tackle in the end from Golby.
Murdoch arguing that it was high. The umpire disagreed. So the Lions leading here by 5. Been a high energy start to this game at the Gabba. Twilight footy, well guided for Simon Black. Shake of the head from Mitch Duncan.
Stay, Mitch. Move it on.
Lyle was a long target, but much shorter than that. Jack Redden.
Move it on.
Pretty solid season. Comes off a 24 disposal game. That's round about his average, just under.
Play on.
Always lays lots of tackles. Just Jack Redden, a good team man. There's Jonathan Brown.
This is a really entertaining start, Jono. We could come here and say that it's, Brisbane are in this because Geelong are flat off the bye, but that's not the case. Geelong are having a red-hot crack. This is an impressive effort to come back like this, Brisbane.
Play on.
Yep, they are up for the challenge, that's for sure. Enright, the touch, and there he is. Positioned in the perfect spot, Daniel Rich.
He just pulls out the one wood. He probably should have had the little wedge. Jed Adcock was definitely keen for the short kick to set up an open shot at goal. But I reckon when the adrenaline's running and he's been in red-hot form, you just let him go.
Let him go.
That's a fair call. Taylor, Stevie J, look at him just creeping behind, looking for an extra possession. Down the line goes the kick. Dawson Simpson gets there for Geelong. Blitzarve as well, but the ground crew, certainly the numbers were with Brisbane initially, and that's the way it turns out. Adcock was able to set it up, and Hanley, spearing ball, clean bowled a lot. Steve Johnson prowling back along the last line.
He's got an excuse, Hanley.
For Bartel, yeah, that's a good point.
Yep. Play on.
Kelly wasn't sure who that was meant for. He was taking no chances.
Two big blokes, one-on-one, and the J-Pod has worked really hard. He's up against a really inexperienced kid.
Who did well, Clark, to get something to the ball now. He's on his wrong side, J-Pod. He was able to work the angles, working. He overworked it. And he almost had time to actually straighten in the end.
Well, the result wasn't great, but the movement was good. And that's what Chris Scott will be looking for over and above goals. Just to see the J-Pod come and get back to his very best form. He started pretty well. That one obviously could have been a goal. He just probably hit the end of the ball a little bit too much and hit it a bit sharply. 17
goals for the year for Rich, very close to J-Pod to be playing on. 17 goals for the year. Kicked 5 in that last game against the Giants, including 4 in the third quarter. Simon Black's proving a menace. That's his 9th disposal, and he's been so creative as he always is. Hanley.
It's a good effort to get back.
Kept a few at bay. Kicks for Redden, didn't do him a lot of favours. Succumbs to the inevitable, and it's out of bounds.
Looking at the champion data rankings on the way up in the plane, Jono, it's Hanley who's the #1 player for the Brisbane Lions. He's been a fantastic story and a great recruit.
Rockcliffe, McGrath, already with 1 to the name. That time Josh Hunt runs around it a little bit and needs support. Got it from Bartel. There's Enright again.
Hold there. Thanks, mate.
His 5th disposal, crafted out for Bartel.
Right there. Thank you.
Just pops up anywhere on the ground, Jimmy Bartel. Anywhere where he's needed. That wasn't a great kick, though. McGrath.
Moons, Daniel Merritt on the bench. Is that just rotation, getting a bit of a rest into the legs, or is there another issue?
No, mate, just right now, I just think it's rotation at the moment. He's sitting down on the chair, so he's not at the back getting looked at. He's just there having a rest, mate.
Steve Johnson, did he take him on?
Came out. Came out of the tackle, boys.
Yeah, it is interesting, Jared, isn't it? Because Hawkins is still on the ground.
I was having a chuckle then because Steve Johnson was punching nothing.
Maloney doing what he does best, winning the clearance and getting it in there, causing some havoc. Young Mays feeling the tackling pressure from the Cats, and we'll have another throw up.
Daniel Rich is enjoying this. He is just floating along, doing not a hell of a lot. In fact, it looks like Cam Guthrie might have been pushed down to pick him up, and now Guthrie's going up to the contest.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, Jared, to answer your own question about Rich. Do you think they have to do something?
Well, if he keeps dominating, I guess they're going to. Otherwise, they're going to back in the likes of Enright or Mackie, who will inevitably get free themselves against him. But he is launching plenty.
Oh, there's Blitzarves again. Couldn't shake the tackle. Oh, he's a bit lucky, isn't he?
Yeah, we had 2 calls there from the 2 different umpires, but they got it right in the end.
It wasn't even his free, was it? I thought it was Blitzarves' free. Quick kick goes inside 50. Stokes to Enright from either end of the ground, and there's a short pass to Guthrie.
Well, I think Guthrie was the bloke who was pushing up onto Rich. But I thought you're right. I think it was Blitzarves that got taken high, Hutto.
Yep.
To me, Jared, I think you start looking at maybe a Jimmy Bartell or a Matty Stokes who go and stand on it, and someone who can lead on Rich, make him work as a defender first. Then if he gets those kicks, then so be it.
Nicely caressed through by Guthrie to give Geelong back the lead at the Gabba.
Good response by the Cats. I think he'd be reluctant moves to move Bartell. He's making a statement here about next year's trip to the USA. Yeah. He wants to go again. He's had 9 possessions in this first term at 71%. He's had a couple of inside 50s, and well, we know that when he gets the ball, things happen. But we'll just take a closer look at what they're doing with Guthrie, Jono, and just see whether or not he does get a long-term role on Rich.
Rich has gone back to the bench at the moment for the Lions. So
Guthrie's gone back to the back pocket.
And Merritt's back on too, boys.
So the Cats lead by 1. Entertaining opening quarter at the Gabba. Hope you're enjoying the action late on a Sunday afternoon. Joel Selwood with the release to Enright, who did as much as he could do then, which was jam it on the boot. But there's lines everywhere. They were ready for it. Unfortunately, the footy eluded Simon Black initially, and then he was caught by Steve Johnson.
Great tackle from Stephen Johnson. Unusual for Unusual for Black to be caught unawares.
It was, and Johnson almost suffered the same fate. Kick from Enright, brilliant for Bartell. He was gone on the left foot. Realised how hard it was going to be, and that's a beautifully weighted kick. And he finds Alan Christensen on a slight angle, and as you can see, very much within scoring range.
Well, they're pretty keen to notch up a win. Chris Scott was determined at the start of the game that they finish the first quarter in front. And they really did blow it themselves. They had half a dozen people on the centre wing. The ball bobbled. Simon Black lost a track of where it was, and the turnover results in a goal.
All clear. Oh, was it? Oh, really long, isn't it?
Well, Brisbane had all the numbers, you're right, Jared, and because Geelong's midfielders actually went the other way because the handball came out from Selwood in the middle of the ground, and Enright kicked it to the commentary side here, this wing. All the other Geelong midfielders started to run the other way. So they had to get numbers over. And in the end, their work rate ended up working in their favour and on the back of some power running. And you see Bartell here. Christensen was up with the ball as well, and he flowed back in with the flight of the ball and found space all by himself inside forward 50.
So where have the goals come from today, you ask? Geelong with 4-3. And Brisbane with 3-2. And all Geelongs have come from turnovers. Brisbane, of course, going the full journey from a kick in.
Oh, good hands.
Oh, they're looking to build again, Geelong. Duncan had to wait just a moment. Christensen with the last and maybe the next as well. That was a lot better. What a cracking goal. What an entertainment feast we're seeing.
Well, Geelong have not won clearances as often as they would like, but they're a bit like the West Coast Eagles at times. When they win clearances and centre clearances, they win them so well that they generally score a lot, and you just see those players keeping their width, not getting sucked into the contest. They rely on players inside to win it inside, and always have players on the outside running the lanes, and that's a really good goal.
Well, I spoke before about who do you put on Rich, and Matty Stokes was the one that started in front of him then, Jared, and that's what I kind of want. There's no one on him right now, but this is what I want. I want someone who works up the ground, leads, who can be used as a forward target and a marking target. Make him play as a defender. Don't let him have the game on his terms.
Selwood again out of the middle. It was Murdoch that got the ball to boot, and tackle from Podziadli on Staker. Umpire lets it pass, but Geelong now win the footy through Duncan. You heard the call touched, and Brisbane able to win it back. Clark. Rich didn't really help Adcock's cause at all. They need to work out who's right. Well, it is effectively, isn't it? A handoff. Back to the wing goes Yo's kick.
They're probably watching the wrong game last night, Hutto.
Back on the wing, Harry Taylor takes on 2. Still found a way to get it to Taylor Hunt. Easy relieving mark in the end for Clark. Justin Clark, just 19 years of age. A little bit of high contact there. Bartell maybe arguing he got the ball.
Slows things down, though. They're away then, the Brisbane Lions, giving away that free kick. Slows them up, allows the Cats to defensively set up across the ground.
Joel Patfull. Brown just dispatched with Guthrie.
Oh, well played.
It was along the line from Mays. And it gets to a man too, Rockcliffe. He was handcuffed though, there was no getting out of there. Lonigan, slight fumble from Hunt. 28 seconds, that's enough for Brisbane perhaps.
Been really impressed with Geelong's tackling tonight. We've seen a number of the deep forwards make tackles from behind. Motlop was one, Podge was another, Steve Johnson was another. We saw Mackie take one there. Their tackle numbers are pretty impressive.
As was that mark from Guthrie. Quick to release the kick too to Steve Johnson. Got Enright running to the outer side. Careful kick. 8 seconds, you'd think that's not enough for the Cats. Even at their brilliant best to be able to get it from half-back into the scoring area. So they have to be satisfied with a 13-point lead. And I think obviously Brisbane would rather be in a better position, but for the neutral viewers, it's entertaining. They brought him back a bit too soon, and they ran him in the VFL for 5 or 6 weeks just to make sure he was ready.
I saw his first game in Adelaide. It'll be probably 2 years ago, and he just looked like he was always going to be a player.
Rockcliffe got it in, and Brown would open the mouth and the arms ready to take the catch. Take the mark up forward. It just didn't quite get there in the end because of the good spoiling work of the Cats.
And that's impressive. His second and third efforts are good, Dawson Simpson. And even on that occasion, high ball comes out of the middle. He was one of the first back for Geelong to create the tackle to turn it over.
Blitzarves went that time. Black, slick with the hands as always. Adcock's been in the thick of it today. So is Bartel. His 11th disposal. You think he's sending a message, Jared? That
he's going back to the United States next bye.
So are about 50 other AFL players on the back of this.
Rich gets the handball back, and it's over the line and out of bounds.
Still got to finish the job though, Hutto.
The airlines and the travel agencies, they're lining up, aren't they, for next year, for the bye? And I think they probably need some media to go and cover it as well. Margin is 13. Simpson got it down, but again to Black. It's going to be his 11th disposal there.
It was interesting. He was head-to-head against Joel Corey there, both champions, both premiership players. He pushed Corey inside, and the ball ended up outside, and he ended up with a footy.
Stokes, what a season he's had. Quick kick forward from Mackie. Probing ball into the 50. Murdoch turned defender to try and bring it to ground. Merritt, he kept the hands free and was able to release it when it mattered. Steve Johnson, he just dropped it pretty much. Blitzarves in there. Yeah, the grunts and groans. Patfull. There's nothing, no real handballs there, are there? It's just.
Well, players are under instruction. If you do get pinged, you just let the ball go, essentially. And you've got to do it clever enough not to get pinged for a throw.
That one got away from Jimmy Bartel. Was he hanging onto the hand of Hanley? Played it really well, Hanley. He got some serious meterage for his team, and suddenly they're into attack.
Well, it did. Jimmy Bartel was about to hang on for dear life there. If that ball had just trickled in front a little bit more, Hanley was away. Bartel trying just to use his experience to stay involved in that contest.
Simpson, he was trying to get it to Stokes.
Play on.
Rockcliffe got a toe to it, and it's ended up in Maloney's hands. Needs to make this one count for the Lions, and it was never in doubt.
Brilliant passage of play, Jono. It was great ingenuity from 2 or 3 players. It started with a little flip off the ground, a nice little soccer kick. Take your eye on it. Here it is, there's a little soccer kick, and then a Leuenberger flick. An Irish handball off to a Maloney kick straight through the goals.
It was Rockcliffe with the little toe poke, and smart play from Leuenberger as well.
So Maloney hasn't had a lot of the footy today, but that's a very handy goal. He and Rockcliffe both sitting down. He will be shortly anyway on the bench.
Play on.
Black.
Play on. Play on.
Nice manoeuvre from Leicester to Leuenberger. They're almost away, but Corey Enright claimed well by Leicester. Good follow-up work. Leuenberger. Some really great combative work in tight today. Hanley. This is Golby. And Brown. It's away from Lonigan.
Ash McGrath one-on-one against Josh Hunt in the goal square.
Wait there, Tom. Wait there.
No, he's not going to go for a deep kick. Just set it up.
And just read it so perfectly. Did Corey Enright, what is he now, 4 or 5 times All-Australian?
You picked the team, Jared. You should know.
Well, he just gets penciled in.
I'm interested in your assessment on the All-Australian team this year when you're not selecting it, Jared.
Holding.
It's a Geelong free. The Christensen seem to confuse quite a few. Here's Joel Corey, and now Andrew Mackie.
Yep.
And Hawkins just paid it. Don't know.
Well, it was 50-50 in the end. The umpire gave him the benefit of the doubt. But Andrew Mackie and Tom Hawkins seem to have a really good link between each other. Mackie's a really long, hard kick. Hawkins just takes the front spot. And he was good enough to snaffle it, probably just marginally.
2 metres.
This will test his accuracy. Hutto, he's been in really good form, as you said.
Already with 1 goal to his name.
What's your mark, Dan?
This for his 200th goal in AFL footy. Tom Hawkins. Yeah, it's a nice strike.
All clear.
Congratulations to Tom Hawkins.
Well, it was on fire, I should say, last year in round 5. Look at the conditions, rain pelting down here at the Gabba.
If you've just joined us, this is a replay.
Look at the ground, look at the water. And look, he was on fire, and he kicked 5 or 6 that night, 6 goals that night. So just an outstanding player. We know that he's come of age the last couple of years and started this game tonight in fine form as well, already with a couple of goals to his name.
Averages 3 goals against the Lions. Had 25 goals up to this time last year and ended up with 62. So he's not far. He's just a little bit ahead of where he was last year, even though he hasn't necessarily been in as good a form overall. Kelly. And the umpire read it well then, but it remains with the Lions. Maloney tried to shape the kick. Brown and Lonergan both knew that the ball was going in a different direction, tried to adapt. Here's Hunt. Harry Taylor, Bartel.
Well, Bartel is just causing all the damage down there. He's pushing down from a wing, and he's just creating that extra man. He's just so creative. He's got to be followed.
Kelly to Motlop. And then inboard to Dawson Simpson.
Yeah, good hold.
And look at Harry Taylor. He started it all.
Brisbane.
There's a free kick.
That was just an incredibly good mark from Harry.
Thanks, Harry.
Didn't get it paid, but it was a great mark.
I think it was Duncan who was just trying to help him out. Saw that he was coming back.
The crowd played their part there, sounded a bit of a warning. Patfield's able to get it. Back to half forward. And there's a mismatch in height, but Josh Hunt was...
Well, at the moment, Jonathan Brown is staying deep. He's a man Tom Lonergan's going out to make an extra number out of the contest.
1 metre.
But it's a bit of a Russian roulette scenario.
Blitzarves for Christensen.
No genuine intent. Play on.
And he just had to make a bit more of it. And look at Steve Johnson, magnificent smother.
High tackle, Steve Johnson.
Well, the first quarter, Jared, they brought it back into the corridor of the Lions. On that occasion, Maloney going outside to Doherty. Just the percentages weren't great on that occasion. Turnovers caused.
And Blitzarves driving it long. There's the high contact on Steve Johnson. And he ducked his head.
1 metre, Manny.
And the contact came. Hard for Maloney to do anything else, really. Blitzarves just leaning politely over the top to get the tap down.
High contact. Daniel Merritt, high contact.
It's a really good incident, that one. That one should be, I guess, replayed for the umpires. They make a decision because on the surface of it, you'd expect that that's an incorrect decision. And yet it'd be handy to know whether or not they thought that was the case.
Golby slapped it back. Mackie, Enright. We could see for a while that he was on his own, Matty Stokes, waiting for the ball, waiting for his teammate to get it. Eventually they did.
Moving on.
Sam Mayes has got to get himself dangerous because Mackie is running a showdown in that half-back line, and Sam Mayes is running around trying to get a kick for himself. But Mackie is the one who's doing the damage.
That was smart from Motlop. He just went and stood next to Yo. And Stokes obviously saw him do that and just put the kick out 5 metres in front of him. Easy mark to Motlop. Great setup from the Cats.
What a talent he is, Steve Motlop. 22 years of age. Only played 38 games of AFL football. He can run and he can kick goals from just about anywhere.
Well, he is the reason why Steve Johnson can play as a permanent midfielder. Have a look at him down bottom of the screen. Number 32, he's being well guarded.
Little point.
He knows where the space is going to be, and he's just been really just done out completely there. And when you can kick them from 45 to 50 out on that sort of angle, you are a young genius.
One in, guys.
Well, as I said, only 38 games of AFL footy, a lot of injury troubles. But it's been great to see him up and running this year. Played 11 out of the 12 games now, and that was his 18th goal for the season.
And Elliot Yeo has done a pretty good job on him, but he needed to understand what was going on there and I guess read it a bit better, Jono, and probably take the space.
Well, he was on the right side, he's on the boundary side where the space was. He just allowed him to walk around him. That's where you need to start to push that player in the direction where you want. Dictate the contest as a player.
There's another interesting example of a high tackle to Selwood. We don't want to get to sidetrack, but I'm not sure about that. Stokes takes the mark. Outside the 50. Hunt spears it. And that time Christensen behind, and Yeo was able to take the mark.
No, it's well read by Yeo.
Yeo at the Gabba.
Or Yoey, as the coach calls him.
Yeo Gabba Gabba.
This is Mays. Barry Taylor. Rockcliffe. And Zorko gets it going to half forward, but that's where it ends. What a slashing game he's playing, Mackie. Bombs away to half forward. Yeo had a lot of time.
He's just reading it really well, Yeo. You can see why the coach likes him on that last line of defence, because he's sliding in and doing good work with the intercept marks.
Golby. Is there a little bit of interference? Surely there was.
He'll want it forward because McGrath's got himself free.
John, you've got to go behind, mate. Sorry. Thank you.
Like he's a little restless about the umpire. You can see exactly why he did what he did. Now Maloney, always quick to release the big long kick. The forwards know where it's going. Lyle, and he out-bustled and just outsmarted the big man in Simpson, and he can have a shot for goal here, Jordan Lyle.
Great contested mark in the end. I thought Maloney would have to lower the eyes once again and hit that short. He had a lead up coming at him.
That's it.
Because Geelong had plenty of numbers back inside defensive 50, but in the end the long kick was to the favour, the right side of his teammate in Jordan Lyle, and he's already kicked a goal in this game. 4 disposals, 2 marks, and the Lions lead this one.
Recruited from Hawthorn, of course. And hangs it out to the right.
And Moons, you're the best to judge a set shot like that from a big player, but he just seemed to lean back on that. No fluency through that kick.
Thought you'd be on the best to judge an easy shot miss, mate. Look, it was just a really bad ball drop there. He dropped it way too high, but he did lean back on it. And who would have thought I'd be giving goal kicking advice?
No comment, Moons. Mackie kicks out to half-back. Corey sliding in. Taylor Hunt.
Pinned in now. Give him every chance. Thanks, boys. Thanks, Taylor.
Steve Johnson just gave a little signal there to Dawson Simpson. Not sure what it was. I'm not even sure if he saw it, but there's the scramble with Selwood. Is he in the back? Yes, he is.
You just land there his back, Joel. No, just the last bit of the tackle.
He was appealing for the free kick, and the umpire looked at where he drew his attention to where he was.
You could hear the Geelong players just telling Selwood, get up and get going.
Yep.
Which was the important aspect of it, telling your leader to get up and just get on with the job and get yourself back in the right spots to help the team.
Move it on now, play on.
Steve Johnson, his 10th disposal. Lands on the wing. Blitzers, what an effort through the air.
And the slingshot ready to go, Hutto.
Lonigan has broken the furthest, or he and Murdoch.
Guthrie on the other side of the ground. It's a good switch here by the Cats.
So Lonigan's gone right down to the goal square for the Cats. And there's the mark taken in the middle of the ground by Stokes.
Yep, that's right.
The improvement in his game, Jared, has just been huge this year.
Yeah, this one's for Simpson.
And he knew it. He just couldn't quite claim it. He's still arguing the toss that maybe he marked it.
Well, it was awfully close. It was as close as a couple that we've seen, Mark, but he really did work hard to get down there and expose the defensive height of Brisbane. He's having a pretty impressive game, Jono.
He has been impressive. Would have liked to have clunked that one, Jared, especially being outmarked in the defensive end about a minute or so before.
Yes, and it didn't cost them a goal, but could have. Hanley, Steve Johnson closed him down.
It's really clever.
Gave it, got it back. He's just one step ahead of most players, isn't he? Here's Lonigan. Bangs it long. Simpson gets another crowd. They all fly for it. It's gone Mitch Duncan in the middle of that. Look at Daniel Rich carve his own path out. Great stuff. Simon Black to Jonathan Brown. And they've dodged one there, the Lions.
It's been quiet in this term, though, Hutto Rich, just the 2 possessions.
Now Redden. This is building to something promising. Stretching out Adcock. It's going to be up to Leicester against Harry Taylor, who back fearlessly. Zorko went to ground. McGrath. And that's done enough. It's a goal, and a critical one for the Lions.
Well, it was interesting how that one developed because Harry Taylor read it best. McGrath went up the ground trying to drag Harry Taylor away, but Harry read it best. If we can pick it up, you'll see Harry nearly take the mark, but the fact that he didn't take the mark meant that McGrath, you can see now McGrath goes forward, Harry comes back, but McGrath is left free, and good work here by Zorko, goes to ground, quickly dishes it off, and McGrath are able to finish.
I know Matty Stokes has done a truckload of work, but sometimes you've got to put the head down and just put that one extra effort into chase. If you had just chased a little bit harder through the middle of the ground, even got a fingernail to the back of the Brisbane player coming out, it may have affected the kick. Goal may have not happened for the Brisbane Lions.
Simpson again to Selwood, hunted down, just was able to release the ball. Christensen took on the tackler to some degree. Maybe got a toe poke to it.
Well, Jordan Lyle's got to get himself more competitive against these taller ruckmen. He's going to be given that second ruck role. Simpson is really ragdolling him.
Simpson again jumped just at the right moment. Staker dispatched off. Steve Johnson starting to really cause some problems for Brisbane in this quarter. Stokes had time to get down and get up again. Guthrie and Stokes for a second opportunity. Murdoch flew. Motlop was lurking, but the Lions rebounding quickly. Doherty, Hanley, Enright, Bartel.
Mackie becomes dangerous because he's the spare.
Clean bowl. Recovery was good. Lonigan. Guthrie's in the middle. He saw something bigger and taller. Blitz halves. Hawkins has worked his way back to the goal square if the kick happens to come that way. It will now. Selwood. And got over both he and Merritt's head.
It's impressive at blitz halves how he's just improved week in, week out. His composure around the contest is a lot better now. And he just does the basics really well, Jared.
Interesting to see where he ends up, Jared, in position-wise.
Well, I think it's interesting right now. They're playing all their tools on the ground at the same time, so they're not worried about the height issue because Blitzarves is such a mobile player. And I think you're alluding to the point, Hutto, he may finish on a wing or he may finish as a tall half-forward flanker.
Absolutely, and then I guess it's a matter of whether you play another, whether he still is the second ruckman. What a handy luxury that is.
Well, there's been a number of clubs experiment with that sort of setup, West Coast Eagles, and they may even go back to a Darling playing on a half-forward flank because at the moment he's really not working for them as a forward. We know the Swans have got plenty of them, and Geelong now look like they're going down that track.
Hard man to get past, Josh Hunt. Christensen floated the handball. Blitzarves again. Enright. Cats are having trouble just finishing off their work at the moment. Blitzarves again to Enright. Duncan takes the mark. Little shove.
Hands in the back.
Hands in the back. Straight back to now. Straight back to now.
He'll get 50. Yep. He smothered it just that little bit too long.
In the old days, he'd be dragged for that, I reckon. He must have heard the umpire say, give it back to him, John. I know, it's so annoying when you're a player, but he had to be smarter than that, surely. Now, Patfield makes it 70 and kicks it to full forward. Harry Taylor flies. Simon Black, unfortunately for the Lions, misses.
And Chris Scott would be angry with the fact that the 50-metre penalty was given away, but then, and here it is here, just slide hands in the back, but that's the way it's adjudicated today. But then no one manned the mark. No one pushed back to man the mark for Patfull. Long ball inside 50. Simon Black should have finished on the right side of his body.
Wait, Matty, wait, play on.
Here's Duncan. Imprecise kick. Steve Johnson. Unlike Johnson not to take the first option. About the fifth option in the end he took. And Hunt finds Podsy Adley. Brisbane have done a pretty good job in this quarter, really, haven't they? But Geelong had a lot of the footy, but
they need the next one. They missed the one from Jordan Lyle. They missed the one from Simon Black. It's about opportunities now for the Lions.
Uhlenberger scrambled to kick forward. Simon Black. It was an no-look handball, but he knew he had teammates there from his earlier reconnaissance.
Well, he had no other option, but the power of a smother was going to turn this into a goal potentially at the other end.
It still might. Joel Corey couldn't see off the tackler though. Stevie Motlop, nice little fend. Buys himself a second or two and drives the ball to Bartel.
Just got that added pace element. Bartel again just unselfishly pokes it forward to one of the youngsters.
Yes, to Murdoch, who takes the mark.
I mean, again, Jono, Michael Voss will go into the rooms at half-time and know that it's been probably 4 decisions or 4 elements of execution that has cost him this lead at the present time.
15 go.
Shot for goal then from Jordan Murdoch. Talented youngster, 21 years of age. 4 goals, 1 for the season. Wasn't the perfect kick,
All clear.
but it's a goal.
Well, it was unselfish from Jimmy Bartel in the end. It was a turnover in the middle of the ground that caused Geelong to be on the goal side of their opponents. They worked it well. Brisbane had taken off, thinking that they were going to win possession of the ball and get it going forward. And you can see there Jimmy Bartel with a nice pass into Murdoch, who was good enough to go back and finish the goal, Hutto. And he's only had the 1 touch in this quarter, Murdoch. He's had 5 for the game.
3 goals, 1 for Geelong to 2-2. They've had 13 inside 50s to 7. And we talked a lot about Rich and Mackie and their impact in the first quarter. Rich was dominant, but in their second term, it's Andrew Mackie doing a lot of the damage, Jared, from half-back.
Yeah, he's dominating ball in hand at this stage, and he's getting plenty of contested ball at the same time.
Here's Motlop trying one on. He got past, and he shoots it goal, and he misses. Deserve better
He
after
is
that.
pure class,
Tommy, blue
this
dot,
kid.
blue dot. Thank you.
Just such an exciting side to watch, aren't they, the Cats? I mean, they're working really hard, the Brisbane Lions, but at the other end of the ground, they've got some
He might
dynamos.
regret playing on, Daniel Merritt.
But Sarves again, he is just developing before our very eyes.
Thank you. There. Yep.
Every week it seems, Hutto, he just shows improvement.
Hey, he can do something else, I guess.
15 going.
Keen student learning the game. He's applied himself brilliantly. Let's see his goal kicking from the pocket. Not a lot wrong with that either. That's a great strike. Another one of the Cats.
Well, they're an impressive unit, both defensively and in attack. And here's the defence coming up. Daniel, he's an Olympic level runner. You're not going to try and get around him, mate.
He was a steeplechaser. He thought he might have jumped over Merritt.
Well, deep into the second quarter, he's just working into the game.
That's right.
His running's that elite, and we know that he's got the 1,500-metre background, and
There he is,
there he is
on
up on the wing with Matty Stokes at the moment.
Margin 25 now. In a couple of minutes. Brisbane really have undone a lot of their good work for this second term. Simpson with a lovely hook down to Kelly. Silver service for James Kelly. Podsy Adley in the best position. Good team defence by the Lions, though, to make life difficult for him. Doherty. Hurried kick, Patfull. There's not a lot there for the Lions. And Stokes was able to go back with it.
She's got the flipper working as Dawson Simpson, the one out the back.
You reckon he's been watching Nick Nat?
Well, he's doing everything
warning.
and take a mark here, and he's having a great game.
I thought you'd like that flipper, Jared. You've been all over that all year.
Who's teaching that down there, Moons? It wouldn't be you at the moment. I guess you're somewhere else.
The great Brad Ottens is down there helping the big boys out.
Taylor Hunt from the stand start. Won't be a goal. Through for a minor, so the Cats advance to 9-6-60 and Brisbane 5-4-34 here at the Gabba. We close in on half-time. It's Geelong by 26 points. Inside 50 count, Jono.
37-19 Geelong's way at the moment. That's why those two missed opportunities from the Lions to Lyle and Black really do hurt with the amount of ball going forward for the Cats in the first half of this game.
16-7, the inside 50s for the quarter. Jimmy Bartell's going to join us on the way off the ground at half-time, so we'll be able to see what he learned in the NBA. A big leap again from Podsiadly. He's a good target. He's not dragging too many down at the moment. Tom Hawkins not letting Rockwell go there.
But his attack on the ball, I think, is what Chris got to be pretty happy with. It'll come if he keeps on attacking that ball, keeps working hard on the track. Plenty of opportunities. They can't all go to him. He's probably now secondary to Tom Hawkins, so he's just got to make the most of it when they do come.
Kelly, and here is Podsiadly. Good strong spoil from Clark, who really does show promise as a defender. Golby up to the wing. Lyle didn't have it swiped away, so was able to get the Zorko. Now the sling forward, but Josh Hunt coming the other way.
Well, once again, he has left his man. That is just brilliant work by Hunt. It may get exposed because teammates didn't get the possession.
But Guthrie was able to get back. Enright. Now Blitzaft.
That kick from Enright was excellent, but it was the cover from Guthrie who just put the head down, power run back into defence to help out Josh Hunt, who did the right thing at the right time, left his man at the right time to try and impact in the middle of the ground.
He's at an interesting stage, Hutto. You follow the Cats pretty closely, Cam Guthrie. He was in, he was out, he came back in, he lost his spot, but it looks as if now he's almost on the board, and it's his spot to hold on to.
I think there's no doubt in his last probably 6 or 7 weeks, Jared, he's made his name either as a tagger or that small defender, that half back.
Move it on, play on.
Can be a bit of a troubleshooter for them. Up to half forward. Podsiadly that time got the movement and the motion right.
Once again, though, it's Matty Stokes. His use of the ball to his forwards has just been first class tonight.
This opens up for Brisbane, perhaps. It's all about winning this little contest here, and they win it conclusively. Zorko had option forward, sideways. It's up to Doherty with open country ahead, and the milestone man McGrath trying to get on the end for his third. But the gentle shove was enough for Harry Taylor, who shows his versatility. Able to play on someone like McGrath. It underlines this Geelong team, doesn't it? Really.
Well, it's pretty fair to say the Blitzarves is blitzing again on the wing. It looks as if that is his now set position. If there were magnets in front of us, his running power and marking ability there is going to be really difficult to match up on.
Duncan through to Johnson. He just likes to make things as difficult as possible.
He does.
Selwood sets them up again. And Hawkins, did he interfere? Well, once he didn't, he was paid the mark.
Well, this is going to be interesting on replay because it looked like he pushed out the first bloke, but the umpire was side on. He had a decent look at it, John.
Yeah, I think you're right there. We'll have a look here now.
There's
a hand in the back.
Yep.
One was paid earlier against Mitch Duncan to Joel Patfull. But they've equalled the record now. The Cats this year, Hawthorn round 1 had 39 inside 50s and a half. Cats now have 39.
And given that, the scoreline could be greater, so the kick here would give them close to the reward they'd be after for that dominance. The margin is 26 for his third, Tom Hawkins. And that never looked like being a goal, so the damage could have been greater, but Geelong seemingly in command. Lead by 27 points. Brisbane had a real crack in the first quarter, and they're having a bit of crack at half-time here.
I'm not sure what upset Colby, but
don't let Moons out there on this. He'll just get involved. Has a boundary right ever been reported before for being in a fracas?
He's on the logo at the moment. He's got a spring in the step.
You okay, Moons?
It's very exciting down here, guys. I don't know what to do. Just trying to find
targets. They get to start their game too deep. It's something that they need to address here with Big Leuenberger.
All right, so Leuenberger and Simpson, who we've raved on about with good reason.
Well, he got the hand higher there, and he certainly got the ball over the
He's just
top.
going to have to watch that back foot, Dawson Simpson, just outside the circle a little bit.
Oh, Jono, you want to know the back foot no ball rule.
Oh,
Richie always wanted that to come
still
back.
a rule, isn't it? Hasn't been called for some time.
No.
Steve Johnson. Steve Johnson. Steve, your kick.
No. Not usually one to give up a kick, Jono.
No.
No one on the mark. Yeah, no one on the mark.
Look at Enright just charging forward. This is really good stuff.
And then deep, Hawkins and Podsy Adley can raffle it.
They just do not miss a trick here, the Cats, when they're on song as they are tonight. They don't miss an opportunity to get forward and get an opportunity to these defenders. It's starting from the back half. Pods is the primary target, and he's probably going to go with his left foot screw round the corner, or they revert back to the boomerang. Going the boomerang, we don't see that too often.
Right foot banana.
He's working through all the machinations of it, and that looks like it's been executed magnificently.
Seems the obvious kick to me from that side. I know a lot of people have had flirtations with the left foot J-curve, but look at Enright just coming off the back of the line here. He will just
gone
side
forward
up.
now because that's where Johnson had come from, and then he's had to come over to man the mark, so Enright left to do what he likes.
But he would have kicked a boomerang 1,000 times through his junior career, and probably left foot J-curve only half a dozen. Great goal.
3 goals, 1 for Tom Hawkins. And obviously could have kicked another just before half-time. Geelong's lead stretches to 33 points. Leuenberger had that one to himself. Maloney. Is there a hand in the back of John Brown? No. Again, it's Enright and Steve Johnson collaborating for Mitch Duncan. Steadfast in his efforts there. Scheming through the middle with Taylor Hunt. Drops the mark, but not a real issue for him. So they've spread to the open side. Mackie has Bartel, as you can see at the bottom of his screen. Just feigned it that way to keep.
Stokes working hard and coming up off his man.
And then they've got the extra out wide.
So many times we're seeing that happen. Somebody come up to cover, and the person who releases, he gets exposed.
And Christensen, Tom Hawkins is a bit frustrated.
Can't believe it.
He was about to take the mark, Tommy. He actually doesn't look happy, Jono, even though his teammate took the mark, and that was Christensen.
You right on your line? He's right on the mark.
Well, big first half from Christensen. He was in everything, 100%, kicked the 2 goals with the 7 disposals. So excellent first half of footy from the Geelong small forward.
And that's away to the right. He really announced himself to the greater football world in the grand final of 2011. Had injuries last year, but has had an outstanding season.
Well, the Cats have just dominated these early minutes. It's 1 possession only to the Brisbane Lions. We won't count this one, Jono, because the goal umpire gave it to him.
Staker goes for broke down the middle, and Jonathan Brown.
We'll count this one.
Towering mark, and now they spread to all points. Handball to Hanley. Rockcliffe charging one way, Patfull the other. He goes for Rockcliffe. Steve Johnson was onto it though. Tracks it down, and he threw it. Surely to Taylor Hunt. And well done, Rockcliffe. And as Hunt, in fact, Rockcliffe's actually almost took the ball out of his hands.
He did well. He had to lock that in then, Jared. He had to keep it on the half-forward flank for the Brisbane Lions. And oh no, the ball was tapped out from Rockcliffe.
Duncan. And it's over and out.
Got him. 1 metre, boys.
Geelong lead by 34. Redden trying the flipper out the back, Jared. Even the third man up can do it now.
He's catching on.
My ball trapped in there, 2 players. Thanks, Tom.
They've just taken the sting out of it, Geelong. So Brisbane need to re-energise here. Find a way to goal early in the third. Christensen and Steve Johnson. Maloney. Black got in his way. Sheer weight of numbers, and that's well guided for Zorko. Where they'd be without Simon Black, you can only wonder.
His work early was excellent, Simon Black. We know how good his handballing is, but there's been some freakish handballs tonight from Simon Black. He's been involved in the entire game, brings his teammates into the contest.
Just a little bit of evening dew. So we saw Zorko rub the ball and try and dry it a little bit. Almost the mark to Brownie, and he hits the post, I think. No, it's socket through for a goal. Are we going to see a review or not?
Jonathan Brown again.
Time on, Winnie. Okay, time on. Score review. Umpire's call is we believe it's touched. We want to check whether it was or not. Swap.
Score review underway.
What was your thoughts, John?
I believe it's touched, so therefore if it's inconclusive then it will go.
So it came off Josh Hunt initially, and then it went back in, and whether it had gone through for a goal.
Well, Jonathan Brown's appealing like an English bowler ready to get a wicket here at the present time, but it's got to have touched somebody, surely.
Hard to see it being overruled on that view, but maybe another angle will.
Has that got through the gap?
Well, that looked like it went through the gap, didn't it? But whether it was touched before or...
Bit of pinball action.
It is.
Gee, that looks like it's got through the gap.
It's got through the gap.
Mind the gap.
Because you look at Lonergan, he hasn't protested at all on the ground. He would have felt it if it had clipped his ankle.
All clear, one behind.
Just they didn't feel it was conclusive enough.
That's right, and that's all it is.
You'd have to say they got that one right, Hutto. Inconclusive for sure.
Josh Hunt didn't quite get that kick right.
No.
Dawson Simpson, Mitch Duncan.
Important time now for the Brisbane Lions. They've been really competitive for 6 quarters. Last week in Fremantle or against Fremantle, and today till half time, but they've got to get some score on the board.
Mackie only just stayed ahead of the game, the catch, but that was enough to get it to 50. Mackie to the square. It's set up for some Stevie J. He's kept it in. Oh, and then he ran into Daniel Merritt forcefully too.
Gee.
And Merritt, his own teammate there.
Interesting that Maloney has gone on to Voss, probably in a little bit more of a hard tag scenario. And Johnson has immediately taken him to the boundary line. A bit of one of the teammates knocking into him.
A bit of a cannon. I think he's not that well either, Steve Johnson. Hunt with the mark.
The trainer's with him, and the trainer's got his hands in the air.
Dabs it into the pocket. Oh, and there's Bartel.
Well, he has just been chopping them up all evening here at the Gabba.
Cats will be taking no chances with Steve Johnson, who copped a blow late in the game against the Giants as well just 2 weeks ago and went off the ground in the last quarter. And Merritt, I don't think he was wishing him all the best there, Daniel Merritt. Meantime, we watch Bartel. Just misses.
Jimmy Bartel, 16 disposals. Today, 12 kicks, 4 handballs, and there's a lot of talk, a lot of focus on Jimmy Bartel coming back from, or going to America over the break, and he's answered all those critics today.
Clear to say he didn't like the debate too much himself, Jimmy Bartel, from his answers to Moons just before half-time. Cats try and sort it out off the wing. Some high contact on Josh Hunt. Touched in running. Here's Bartel again. Tacked the footy. Mitch Duncan had a quick scout around to see what was ahead. Tom Hawkins took his time also. It's a little bit of an in-betweener, but Blitzar's made it look good. Almost took the mark as Stokes running with him. Another option was the J-Pod, and he was hunted down brilliantly by Merritt out of bounds.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
No, out on the full.
Out on the full.
Okay. Short kick in for Clark.
Thanks, Stevie. Play on.
And now Yo.
Play on.
Patfull. Rockcliffe. Patfull again. Back to Rockcliffe. Gee, it hung a long time in the air. Had to try and improvise. Selwood.
Fell into his back in the finish.
Suddenly they're away again. Podsiadly a likely target. Merritt's going to come and make him feel it, which he did. And most importantly, didn't give away the free kick and got the ball back on the Lions' terms, and they should score from here. And it's going to be up to Simon Black to determine what the score is. And sadly, it's a behind.
So often you see that happen when players have got all the time in the world, and it's just the goal that they needed. But it was a darn good effort by the J-Pod just to sit there. He knew that Merritt was coming, and Merritt had blood in his eyes, I reckon. He was looking for a little bit of physicality.
Well, that's the first thing. Once the ball pops up as a player, you know the heat's coming. You just got to stand under it.
Hold there, Josh.
He had a bit of running at the balls of Pamplona in his mind, and he did a really good job. Kept his head nice and erect.
Selwood, Bartel in reserve. Left on his own, Bartel to fend for himself. Goes short, backwards. And Lonergan's there. He can switch if he chooses or go back down the line. Mackey's calling for it in the middle of the ground. It's not a bad option, actually. In fact, it's not Mackey. It's Murdoch, who's away with a sharp left foot to Podsiadly. And now Stevie M goes to work. Motlop with a little Gazunda down towards full forward. And well done by Merritt. Here's Murdoch. Clark gets them out. Now Selwood's got to take on two. Big tackle, great tackle on Golby. Had to be rewarded.
Geez, that was a fantastic tackle.
I'm still trying to work out what a Gazunda is, but
It's a bit of a grubber.
But
I
on the
reckon he's going
back
to
of all
play, aren't he,
that,
boys? Hey guys, just quickly, just Hawkins, you see there, he's right in the ear of Golby. Just as Hawkins ran on before, Golby was running off. Hawkins pointed at him and basically told him that he's going to get his back a little bit later. So obviously that little blue before at half-time meant something.
And that, just like Simon Black, is a behind at the other end.
What was the origins, did you know, Moons, of the tension between the two?
I don't think there was any, but obviously something's happened because it takes a lot to get the big fella riled up. He's a very relaxed human being and hasn't really got a nasty bone in his body. So for him to get a little bit cranky, something's obviously happened.
Well, there's the man in question.
Kicks beautifully into the middle. Patfull takes the grab. They sweep back towards goal. Mays has got loose at centre half forward on his own. Brown's going to fly.
He's having an absolute field day at the present time. In fact, that's Mitch Duncan, but the one who really is dominating, Corey Enright down there, has had an absolute blinder.
Duncan's had a big quarter too, Jared.
Yeah,
8 disposals for the term. Here's Selwood, waits for the collect. Wasn't quite sure that Golby was as close as that. Hawkins, he's going to...
Golby went that little bit harder then.
Well, it was interesting. I think Golby is saying that he ducked.
Yeah, I think he's got a point, hasn't he?
He has.
Just compress the kick a bit for Podsiadly to charge at. Clark's got a fist to it again. Well done. Doherty just holding them at bay at the moment, the Lions. Lyle against Bartel.
Does it so well, floating across the front.
Takes on anyone in the air and usually comes up with a footy. Mackey.
There's the short one you're talking about, Cameron.
On the 15, yep.
Blitzers. Let's see if he can go the journey from there. He's shown he can do most things in his short time in the game. He's given that plenty. It's not going to be a goal, but Pods will do it with one hand. He's on the wrong side here, hemmed in. What's he got in store?
Well, he's taking a big mark. I mean, that really was a talented mark. Just got to go back and think it through. He's only a couple of metres out when it's all said and done. He'll get the job done here.
And that's the Steve Johnson measuring out tape here.
Yeah, you're right level with me.
He's going to go the right foot, hook it around with the right.
Dawson's ready to ship it. Good kick.
And that's through.
Well, there's been a bit going on with Tom Hawkins and Mitch Golby at half-time. They were having a little bit of a scuffle. A few words from Tom Hawkins, and it's continued on in this third quarter.
Just seeing where they're going out for a drink tonight, I reckon.
It's always difficult for the bloke who's on the team with the one that's 40 points down.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, It's the Cats leading by that margin at the moment. Tom Hawkins with 3 goals to his name. Leuenberger to Black. Couldn't really ride out completely the tackle, but enough to get it off to Rich. And they set sail again into the forward 50. Patfull's down there now, so he's been redeployed. And the ball over line out of bounds. Is that deliberate? No, it's not.
They need to get Rich off the leash again, Jono, to get themselves back competitive here.
Well, he's only had the 4 possessions, Jared, since quarter time, so they haven't tagged him, but they've done a really great team effort in making sure that he doesn't get off that leash again.
Rich got it through, but it was Corey that flicked it up for Geelong.
Well, that was great work from Black.
Interesting stuff, wasn't it? Hanley's kicked it rather blindly, and it's out on the full.
Thank you.
You see there the score sources. Geelong, they're great at turning the ball over. 9 goals, 8 from turnovers. Brisbane only 3. Well, they've had the 8 scoring shots, 3 goals, 5 from turnovers.
Murdoch. Come from any angle to try and mark that. Clark did his best. Blitzarves also couldn't hook it back to his own advantage. Ooh, a little bit of front-on contact there with Merritt. Hanley, bit of this and a bit of that, and he gave it straight to Stevie J, which he won't enjoy at all, but we like that sort of work.
Guthrie's worked hard.
To Christensen, and he hits the behind post on the full.
Guthrie had worked really hard to get to the top of the square. What a great role model he's had in that back pocket for him for so many years now, Corey Enright. Work rate superb, and Guthrie, if he could get somewhere close to him, he's going to enjoy a decade of absolute excellence.
Adcock. Big leap from Leuenberger. Just couldn't complete the job. Redden back to Leuenberger. Patfull. Here's Mitch Duncan for Geelong. Just ran around it a little bit. Had it under his command eventually. Kelly. It is getting a bit greasy out there. Murdoch. Hanley. Now it's back on Brisbane's terms. Patfull. Zorko. Patfull again. Great charge. He didn't have much left, I don't think. And it's out of bounds.
Harry Taylor, just his professionalism there. Not to give up on the chase. He's in every contest. And wouldn't be surprised if we see him float forward at some stage.
Yeah, he's been drifting forward. Just love the way that Motlop is just sitting across that centre line, hoping for the break, hoping for the big sling.
Hanley tried to pinpoint.
Haven't been able to execute it really down the Geelong Highway. I know David King will be looking at this, looking for the highway, but they've blocked it up pretty well for a lot of the match. But you'd reckon as fatigue sets in, it might just open up.
Dawson Simpson not hit off his line at all. Rockcliffe. Golby. It was a good show of support for Leuenberger to stay with the Lions, wasn't there? There's been a lot of speculation about him and that he would be a big target for other teams. I'm sure he's been well compensated.
2-year contract to Leuenberger. Dane Zorko signed a 3-year deal as well, so 2 players that will play 5 to 7, 10 years together.
Enright rolled the dice. Mays, well done again. Guthrie got an important touch. And now Christensen. Guthrie looks inside. Didn't execute the handball perfectly, but Selwood knows he's got the safety of the boundary line to work with. Decided to keep it going, and here's Golby, Geelong's enemy number 1. Christensen made the ball his focus successfully again. Corey to Guthrie, and now to the good of Steve Johnson.
Oh, look at him go.
And here's Stevie J to Stevie M, and Motlop is away with a bounce. A little glance behind. It's on its way. If you've got it, flaunt it. And Stevie Motlop's got it.
That was pure goal. We were right behind that. We saw Motlop just cruising in. I reckon he was in 3rd gear. Here he comes. He's on the left of screen, and he knows he's got the guy in pursuit. He knows he's got his measure. It was only a matter of running straight. It reminds me of Acker, how accurate he is and how straight a kick he is. This was just absolutely perfect off the boot.
Well, there's the coaches, Michael Voss, plenty to worry about at the moment, trying to just work the players back into this contest, Chris Scott will be very, very pleased with the way that Geelong have handled themselves in this game, especially after half-time.
There's Johnson again. Seems to have made a full recovery. Duncan, a sweep wide with Murdoch angling the kick. Oh, he's up early this time. He's given away the free, Motlop.
Once again, a really interesting centre clearance from the Cats. They keep their width. Motlop believes he was a genuine chance, and he's won himself a 50-metre penalty. But they do keep their width, Jono, on the wings of the Cats at centre clearances, and they rely on blokes inside to get it to the guys outside.
They do. I'm not sure about the 50. Yeah, probably argued the point, but he just was arguing the fact I marked the ball. I thought I touched the ball, could have been paid the mark, so it wasn't.
Had to be 50.
An unwritten rule, isn't it? If you don't, when you go for one of those, if you don't mark it, they generally pay it, and it was demonstrative, I suppose. So that's,
was it?
Well, with the words he was saying, maybe. I mean, you don't agree, Johnny?
No, not on that occasion.
Okay, you're a nice guy at footy too. You wouldn't have ever done that, would you?
Well, there's one for the Flyers for the Lions. But Johnson just continues to fly. He's just absolute killer tonight.
He's had a brilliant season, really.
Yeah.
He's an out-and-out midfielder now. And
well, he's kicked just 6 goals until tonight. And if you look at the tracking of his goals last year, it was slowly coming down. And then the previous couple of years, it was 50 and 60 odd.
Jared, guys, the sub's about to be made down here by Geelong with Jesse Stringer coming on. Just not too sure who's coming off yet. It looks like Murdoch's the one that's going to come off.
Well, Steve Johnson loves this. It's a 50-metre penalty to Steve Johnson rather than the person who got blocked having a shot from the goal square.
Well, the block happened at about 45 metres out. It was Christensen that was put on the deck trying to work his way back. So the bigger advantage was the 50-metre penalty.
I'm surprised Murdoch's been subbed out. He's had 9 disposals. I'm just surprised that perhaps he let a young man play a full game, Jono. Anyway, Johnson for the shot. It's our primary focus, and he's not going to waste an opportunity like that one.
Well, he's involved 3 times in this passage of play. Gets the ball here. You can just see at the top of your screen, Christensen go down there with the block. Umpire was looking right at that, and Stevie J was straight onto it, saying the 50-metre penalty was the bigger advantage, and went back and nailed the goal. 23 disposals so far in this game, and himself, Bartel and Stokes have been the standout players.
So there's Jordan Murdoch. And the competition for places is going to be right on, heading towards September. Well, for all the sides that are in premiership contention, and Geelong is certainly one of those, and they've sent a bit of a reminder. But here's the Lions in full flow. Black, brilliant delivery. Just winding the clock back a bit with Jonathan Brown on the end of it.
Good clearance from the Brisbane Lions.
Makes a difference, doesn't it?
Makes a massive difference. When you get a pure clearance like that, with space in front of you, forwards held back, and Jonathan Brown straight at it.
Bit of a joke there between Johnson.
Bit of a joke.
So Brown comes in, trots in a goal, and if it...
Well, they've missed a number of goals here that have cost the Brisbane Lions in the second and third quarter in particular.
Stevie Johnson wins that bet.
Side bet, you think, John?
I think there was.
Down the middle, Josh Hunt goes for Hawkins. Selwood, Doherty, Mays.
Zorko's pushed forward hard. He's on his own, but when you go back, all those guys that have pushed forward, they end up out of position if you lose it.
Can make a smother look classy. Is that possible?
Into his back there. Finish near his back. Finish near his back.
Things haven't gone Brisbane's way, have they, with the free kicks and so forth today? Where do you think they're at, Jared, the Lions, in terms of their development? Are they still on the right path, do you think? Is there enough there for a prosperous future?
Well, it depends on how long the future is, Hutto, but they're in that difficult position where they're trying to give young kids games and they're trying to be as competitive as they are. We all know that the era is still finishing because Brown's still playing and Black is still playing, so they've got some pain to come, but the pain is going to be lessened the more experience they get into talented young players. I mean, you can fast-track players to a degree, but if they've got no talent, they're going to not help you down the track anyway.
Mark Payne to Pat for
feeling his chest.
When they do need to get some serious A-grade talent back into the team.
Let's just see. This is.
What's this?
It's a good grab,
Did hit the ground,
but it did hit the ground.
We held it long enough.
It looked like a mark in slow-mo until the end,
Didn't
Hunter.
really hold it long enough. It just landed on him and stayed there long enough.
his first goal since 2010 coming up for Joel Patfull.
Exchange. All clear.
Kicked it like a key forward.
What is going to be interesting for mine is what they do at the draft. I mean, they're going to have to take some challenges and some risks. And we were talking about trying to secure a replacement for Jonathan Brown earlier. They've got a really talented other ruckman in Billy Longer. Now, no one wants to get rid of a really good player, but if you're going to get a good player, then you might have to put him up, because the GWS need a good young ruckman. And so maybe if you could package him up with another draft pick, they'd be interested.
Money, boys.
So we talked about competition for places. This is who's missing for both sides. Chapman, an obvious one, and the three recruits, and Varco, they're two that you would think would be in their best 22. And the three recruits, Caddy can't get his way into the team at the moment. Rivers, I think they'll probably find a spot for. They certainly would like to find a spot for. And then McIntosh, well, that's going to depend on his fitness and also on the form of these blokes like West and Dawson Simpson.
And he's back now, Brisbane.
Well, what Simpson and
Advantage.
probably West have got is a little bit more mobility.
And there's another good grab to Jonathan Brown. So a couple of late goals perhaps for the Lions.
Doesn't look like Blitzars is going to be viewed as a ruckman by the season's end. We've got Vardy as well, and Simpson.
Take him away.
It's going to be a tough selection to get into this side.
His first goal of the afternoon, Jonathan Brown. Kicks that one with great authority. And there's a couple in a row.
Working better through the middle of the ground. The last 5 minutes, the Brisbane Lions are able to get this one free, and once again, it's in the hands of Daniel Rich. We know how well he kicks the ball, goes long on that occasion, and Jonathan Brown just too strong and gets himself on the scoreboard. And they need to just pinch another, try and get another 2 in the last 2 minutes 24 of this game.
I guess you talked about maybe being adventurous with the list, Jared, with like a Billy Long. I mean, it's hard with ruckman, isn't it? You need a quality backup to your number one man, but you also need to be able to play them to develop them. So if they can't, they're not going to play longer, then he might start to get...
The summer last pre-season was so good, winning the NAB Cup and all those aspects of things. So another summer again into the younger players.
Here's another one, Clark.
They haven't got anybody yet looking like they're going to be able to replace Jonathan Brown at the present time. Unless there's somebody on the list that hasn't bobbed up just yet. So they've got to think...
Paparone's the development, isn't he? But he's still years away from having a major impact week in, week out for the Lions.
It's opened up here for the Lions as we discussed. Leuenberger takes the mark.
Well, this has been their plan B, using Leuenberger as a forward. I think we'll see Longer coming as a forward. I mean, if you've got two ruckmen, they can go forward. We know that the West Coast have done it. The Sydney Swans have done it. But it doesn't seem as if that's the role that, or the setup that Michael Voss likes to employ.
Here's Leuenberger. We get a good look at the strike. It's just a little wayward as it was earlier. For Leuenberger, so 2 behinds. As you mentioned, they've missed some chances. That wasn't easy.
I know the second sub's been made down here, guys, for Brisbane, with Ryan Harwood on and Sam Mays off, and he does have ice on his right thigh.
He is one of their young talented players. Merritt, delicate little handball to Maloney and then to Rich again. Once more, they can hurt Geelong the other way. Redden misfires. Harry Taylor takes the mark. Away for Bartel. The Cats have just stopped running a little bit late in the quarter.
Play on.
They have Brisbane with a couple of opportunities late to just close the margin up, get it back under 30 points and picked their tail up leading into the last quarter. Missed those opportunities though.
Stringer had some involvement in that. Hunt looks for the reserves behind. Bit of uncertainty, so Josh Hunt just goes along for the doctor. For Motlop from the side, perhaps. No, Elliot Yeo went straight for the footy.
And it's the likes of Elliot Yeo that tell you that they've got a lot of blocks in place to go forward, but it's those keys that are the ones that are missing.
Staker and Bartel. He was concerned, Bartel, by Staker's size there. It's unusual to see Bartel.
Now, normally he picks up the drop zone of the ball and just attacks it.
Siren sounds to end it. Quarter again dominated by Geelong. A couple of late goals made all the difference on the scoreboard for Brisbane.
Establish some competition for the ruck spot for the Cats. We know that Vardy didn't quite come up. McIntosh is back there. Trent West is a premiership ruckman.
Centre bounce are underway in the final term at the Gabba, and there's an immediate infringement, and it goes to Leicester. Quickly out to Adcock. Up to the 50 for the Lions. Lyle was in the best position. Did well, but not able to take the mark. Selwood never gives up in a contest. Johnson there moving with Duncan. Handball to the space. Big Simpson, that's a long way to bend down, so he used the soccer tactics. Stokes, he picked it up and gave it to Simpson. His kick, as you can see, smothered well by Clark. Sprightly through the pack. And they move it around well. Doherty back to Adcock. Just transferred the heat, really. James Kelly. And now Steve Johnson. Creating off half back with Taylor Hunt.
Matthew Stokes is an interesting one, Hutto. He's been around a long
time. He's done no favours. I think it is Stokes who's on the ground as a result of it.
Would it be Stokes' best year?
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. Kick goes deep. Podsy Hadley. At the back is Steve Motlop. And he kept it in. And you know he's capable. And it's a behind. I think from all reports, they thought he was. The move to the midfield came about because they felt they had other options up forward, and so they wanted to encourage the youngsters to play in that forward line. So they thought, well, the only spot for him is the midfield.
Well, he's so unselfish. He's preparing to be a step ladder as well for James Bartel. I mean, that is really underpinning what has been a really competitive and consistent year. You'd expect him to be top 5 in their BNF.
He's been outstanding. Stunning improvement, averaging 27 disposals per game. There's Stringer with a sneaky handball over to Steve Johnson. Just away to the right for a behind.
Well, 2 early opportunities for the Cats in this last quarter. Really determined to finish off this game strong and get that buffer right out over 50. Get their percentage right up, which is already quite high anyway, over 140.
But yes, percentage could come into things for a top 2 position, couldn't it?
Definitely.
Or top 4.
1 metre. Thank you.
Margin is 40. Simpson and Leuenberger. Maloney with Doherty. He hasn't played a bad game. His 13th disposal. Touched, as you heard. Leicester inboard to Redden. Nicely guided into Lyle from Rockcliffe.
Well, haven't given up at all, the Brisbane Lions. They're still working hard. They've got to get some more value on the scoreboard.
Lyle just had time to set himself. And Wright and Corey both flying. Guthrie, now has he done enough to convince the umpire? He has.
Well, Jordan Lyle is one of the young players that they'll be hoping that will continue to improve. Stephen Martin, recruit from the Demons, was quite impressive early, but he's no longer there, which has allowed Lyle to get some exposure, and he's done quite well.
Blitzarves just heaved it onto the boot, and Hawkins found himself out of position. Leuenberger, you could see he was feeling the time pressure just to get the ball to boot, and it's over the boundary line again. So Geelong by 40 here at the Gabba. Simon Black with 22 disposals. This is what happened to Golby.
Knee right in the buttock.
In the crush. Blitzarves down to Johnson.
Jeez, he's been taken high.
Redden.
Velocity of the Cats tackling has been a real indicator of just how much they mean business here this evening.
Harwood ready to get it after a chain of handballs. And Adcock feeling a little nervous, having a quick look over the shoulder. Know that they're coming at him. He gets away from Stringer with great expertise. Drills the kick to centre half forward. Blitzarves poked the hand in there, but wasn't able to spoil
Well done by
Zorko.
Zorko. Push back on him.
He's off the line. We know he's a big kick. He's guided that well for Lyle. Taylor just shuffling. Almost interfered with him. Rockcliffe.
Jesus. He's the new Steve Silvani, is Harry. He just gets away with enough of a grapple.
Things aren't going that badly, are they, for Brisbane?
Well, it was wear black for Simon Black today. Plenty of the supporters donning the black colours.
Pat Full, Lyle at the end of the line. Kelly, Enright. Now Mitch Duncan. A little bit of a fumble. Goes in hard after it again. Stripped of it in the middle of the ground. Stringer. It is a little greasy out there, as we mentioned. Harwood, the sub, getting his opportunity.
He's in the back. No, he's going to get away with it.
Well done. Thank you, boys. Leader there, boys.
Blitzers, all lines out on that side. Doherty. Rockcliffe. Bit of a standoff with Corey. Redden. It's not what you want to hear when you take a mark on your haunches, is it? Touch play on.
Well, he's got the leg to be able to launch, but he's going down the highway.
All right. Let's see what is ahead of him on the highway. Steve Johnson.
Wasn't a great kick.
The umpire. Sure, Wynn got in the road. We haven't got a stat for that turnover caused by an umpire.
Goal assist.
And it's a goal too.
Goal
For
assist.
Zorko. I think Peter Carey was the last man to be involved. So
There has
closely
been an
again.
official puncture on the Geelong highway, and it's been caused by an umpire. Wasn't a great kick, to say the least, from Steve Johnson. A nice bit of rebound work there off the umpire. Didn't jump quite quick enough.
Plum LB.
It was out, and it was going to be a goal at the other end of the ground, but it finished up with the great Zorko. The magician. He's done it.
We always argue on the Talkback Radio about whether umpires influence the outcome of games or not, Jerry.
Well, it was his first kick for the evening, so he's certainly had an influence.
Margin back to 34 then. And Brisbane have kicked the last 3 goals of the game. And they'll be hungry for more.
He's opened up here nicely.
For Redden, had Brown to the right. He went for Lyle, all the goals.
Oh, brilliant from Harry.
And there's Sauce Taylor again, taking the mark.
Nothing kicked from Redden though. It's like he was having a shot for goal, tried to put a dart in, but didn't even put it to the advantage of his forward if that's where he was going to.
Wasn't a great kick from Taylor either. Lillenberger, a little impetuous. Hanley, you can just see how difficult it is to control the footy now.
No tackle.
There's great defensive work by Cam Guthrie. They'd be pleased with his development over the last 24 months.
Fine.
Simpson, and there's Hanley again. And they're getting plenty of the footy at the moment, the Lions. Staker sets up Redden.
You, mate. Yep.
Goes for Brown, nice little nudge, and it almost paid for effort, but not quite.
Brilliant again from Harry Taylor. He just came off his man, and he took the front spot, and it was only through his works does this go over the top. You'd reckon that had to be a bit of a nudge.
Use the elbow.
Doesn't matter whether it's an elbow, if it's a push.
Move it on now. Play on.
Need the side vision to see whether it was self-inflicted or not.
So Josh Hunt, that wasn't a great kick, and that is an outstanding mark from Maloney. And we know the distance won't be an issue here. So Brisbane going for 4 goals in a row at the Gabba, and to get the margin back to 27. And Geelong talked about 4 quarters, Jono.
Well, they had their opportunities at the start of this quarter. They had 2 shots at goal, missed those, and since then it's been Brisbane taking control back of the quarter.
So Brent Maloney with 1 goal already. Kicked 5 for the season so far. As we said, it's a big, powerful launch. And there's another for the Lions. They're back within 27.
Well, big inclusion today, Brett Maloney, along with Jonathan Brown and Daniel Merritt. So some senior experience back into the lineup for the Lions.
Well, it really wasn't a great kick from Josh Hunt. It had to be pinpoint perfect. And there wasn't a lot of backup there for Joel Selwood, and Brent Maloney read it really well. And you can see from right on the 50, he has delivered a crushing blow to give them just a skerrick of a chance, Hutto.
Oh, no doubt. Well, that goal takes them within striking distance, 27 points. We've only got 9 minutes in this last quarter. There's still 14 to go, and Chris Scott will not be enjoying this at all.
Come on, boys.
Bounce required.
Right, thanks, Mitch. Yep, right here
Leveled
too.
up the inside 50 count too, Brisbane.
Tell you
54
what.
to 42 now. It was a bigger gap than that earlier. Still Geelong with 12
Geelong
more.
had 39 in the first half of this game.
Next goal to Brisbane, and they'll start really believing.
I think Dawson Simpson's starting to tire too in the ruck. Doesn't quite have that same spring that he had earlier. Cats to react. Steve Johnson with the mark.
Play on.
Prepared to go back into the middle of the ground.
Play on.
Now Stokes has got some freedom. And it's a skimmer. Here's Mitch Duncan on the brink, just outside the 50. Podsiadly deep, so too Blitzarves.
Yep.
Hawkins is on the bench at the moment.
Jimmy, play on.
Bartel.
It's on the barrel.
He didn't strike it the way he wanted to. Podsiadly claimed immediately. And over the line like Israel Folau there.
I was watching Dawson Simpson on that occasion. He played it well because he was able to draw Leuenberger away from going right back to the goal square to have an impact.
Leicester again, brilliant to Doherty. And suddenly, Brisbane have got an opportunity again. Harry Taylor, be nervous. He's got Zorko putting pressure on. Taylor went for the boundary.
That was as deliberate as any we've seen this year, and he did get pinged.
Play on.
So suddenly Brisbane running and got some purpose about them too. Look at Harwood with a centering kick. And, no mark to Redden. He drags Blitzarves down. Brown, bit of the standoff. Tries to curl it around. Heard the word, and the word was from Simon Black, and the word was good. And it's even better now. No touched. Redden's kick just touched.
Kick and drop punt, Hutto. Run in, kick and drop punt, over the top.
Watch for Enright. Watch for Enright.
Great touch from Enright. Yeah, great touch. He's got to identify that Redden and get it up over the top. Kick through the ball.
Some urgency about the Cats now. Bartel went off the ground and it landed in somehow.
See, that was amazing. A couple of deft efforts by the champs. Enright, then Bartel. And a bit of urgency in the Geelong coaching box.
Far from impressed. Kelly just chanced the arm. Speculative handball.
Play on.
He's been on a tight leash, Steve Motlop. When he's got off, he's been
Didn't dive on it.
brilliant. But Yo's really kept to the task.
To go back, was it Leicester missed an easy goal earlier in this game? Simon Black's missed 2 easy goals in this game. That one there from Redden, so...
Well, they're finishing powerfully, Brisbane, at the moment. That obviously wasn't a great kick from Maloney. Brown went to ground. So I'll be interested to see whether Geelong try and take the sting out of things or whether they're prepared to just keep going and look to score heavily themselves. Up to the wing, Hawkins, Blitzarves. Again, it goes to Staker. No free to Lonigan. He was looking for one against Brown. Didn't get it. Enright. Beautifully cuffed by Rockcliffe. No advantage. And Brisbane can set up for another shot for goal.
Just here, Corey. Corey, here.
Red and Maloney, 6 disposals each in this quarter.
Right where he is.
26 points the margin. Plenty of time for Brisbane. Rockcliffe didn't like his chances. Kicks it back now. Adcock. He's a big thumping kick. And that's on display for all to see. The charge continues from the Lions.
Well, dangerous kick back into the middle, Jared, from Rockcliffe, but it works out. Motlop need to take the body or at least come in just to protect the man on the mark, make Adcock go back over the mark. This is the dropping the ball decision, the right decision from the umpire. And you see Motlop here comes across, just doesn't impact that contest, allows Adcock to run on, and that's just a pure finish from outside 50.
Disappointment's turned to anger now for Chris Scott in the coach's box. the margin back to 20, and what a change in the atmosphere of the crowd. Some real belief. Back in the middle, blitz halves. And Lyle with the first contest. Now it's up to the others. Stokes, Kelly not prepared to grab it. He saw what was ahead. It was Stringer who's got some toe. Deep kick. Hawkins has got the early read on it. Didn't mark it, but Stevie J will finish it off. Johnson puts it through. Stems the flow for the moment.
Well, it was a great little goal from Steve Johnson, who I don't think was in that last centre bounce, but if he was, he gets even more reward for what was a great goal. Let's take another look at it. Kelly and Selwood. Johnson's not there, but he read it really well. It came through a knock-on by Kelly, and then a long ball into the goal square.
Hard to the end, boys. Keep going.
And it was just great contest down at the bottom. Johnson did the work.
Well, Jared, you talk about the knock-on from Kelly, but it's Matty Stokes. Came off the line, one grab in the slippery conditions, just one grab, picked it up, took the tackle and got the hands out. That's one of your leaders stepping up when the opposition have got a run on. That was fantastic play from Stokesy.
Yeah, we're just talking about how good his year has been, Cameron. It's been a level above anything else he's ever done.
Oh, look, he's spot on. You said he'd be the top 5 in the BNF. He'd be easily there, maybe even top 3. He's had an outstanding year, and I think you're right, Hutto. There's maybe not a spot for him down the forward line, so he worked his backside off and got extremely fit and into the midfield.
Yeah, Adcock, Brisbane, they're not going to give up easily, that's for sure. Hunt.
You, mate.
Taylor. Can't pin him that time.
Well, he's rolled the dice, Vossi, and pushed Patfull forward midway through that third quarter. And you could just see his tenacity there, bringing that defensive element to their forward line.
Oh, no one on Leuenberger. Didn't take full control, but got through it right to Lyle. Hanley. That's another.
Well, this is a mistake. Chris Scott will be wondering what happened here when the ruckman had absolutely no competition. You can see Chris Scott is trying to send a message you'd expect to his players by coming down onto the ground. But this just opens right up. It was only just a kick. But have a look for Pierce Hanley. He just gets away from Cameron Guthrie and gives it just enough leather to get it across the line. Good hands from Lyle.
Well, Geelong didn't get their rotation right. That's how that unfolded. Simpson coming off the bench, couldn't get to the contest in time, left Leuenberger all by himself.
Clearances in the second half, boys, 18-8 in favour of Brisbane. This is where the game's turned around. They march forward again. Maloney goes for broke and got it! Oh, what a kick! Oh, thunder and lightning around the Gabba.
Well, I've seen them over the last 24 months pull off some miraculous victories, no more so than the one against the West Coast Eagles midway through last year. And this is the stuff that gets everybody excited. Fast breaks from the goal square. Maloney has had him a magnificent last quarter and putting forward his second goal to give the Brisbane Lions a genuine chance with under 10 minutes of play remaining.
They've kicked 7 of the last 8 goals. Geelong's lead is back to 14 points now. And the Cats on red alert.
Well, you're right about Simpson tiring because Leuenberger able to get over the top on the last 2 occasions.
He nullified him on the first, but not the second. Zorko's turn. Cats trying to fortify their defence. Good work from Guthrie. Bartel, but here's Rockcliffe. Slides inside. Some big one-on-one plays now. Enright. The experience needed, but the mistakes continue. Maloney. Oh.
He's never kicked 4 goals in a game ever before. That would have been the very first time in his whole career.
He's had 5 clearances in this last quarter alone, Maloney.
13 points the margin. Careful kick from Enright. Harry Taylor.
Still plenty of time, Hutto.
Play on.
Black against Johnson at full back, full forward.
Jonathan Brown takes the mark, moves it quickly. Harwood just couldn't get over the head of Joel Corey.
Yeah, he missed the right option, John, didn't he?
He did. He just had to pump it long, one-on-one in the goal square. It was Lyle.
He had Rockcliffe free as well.
Speaking of pumping, the Cats are going. Selwood didn't really assess the situation ahead. He had lots of numbers. He was worried with the way they were going. Stringer sliding in, decides to handball. Little flat-footed initially. Christensen had to turn and release. And Merritt with the saving mark. Maloney again. More tough for Bartel. McGrath. There's real belief amongst the Lions now. Harry Taylor farming it back. And again, bit of a stumble. And it's out of bounds. Christensen there for the Cats. Astonishing performance this from the Brisbane Lions. 5 goals to 1 in the last quarter. Stringer for Steve Johnson. The give was great to Mackie. Now the considerations. Nothing long. There's only that short option for Hunt, who's called on.
One-on-one Hawkins in the goal square. You back him in.
Didn't want to go there. Instead, the running ability of Blitzarves against a fresh opponent in Harwood. Here's an opportunity for Stokes. Back to Blitzarves. He's off balance. He's under severe heat. He doesn't really have the footy anymore. And it's a bounce, or throw up as it is now, inside the 50. Geelong with a rare opportunity in this last quarter to have the ball in their forward half. Black. Joel Corey, been stellar. Hunt brings it back. Maloney. Rich. And it's opened up again for the Lions here. It's all systems go with Zorko, with 1, with 2, and the kick, oh, it's not online.
Now that was the right option from Zorko, just didn't get the accuracy with that kick. Open Geelong up down the corridor.
Simpson takes the mark.
Stokes is out the back all by himself here. They need to find him.
Great mark. Under pressure, that was really strong hands. Do you think that was the right option for Zorko, or should he have hit someone up?
Well, I think initially with that first hit, once he took the first bounce, I think he had to then charge towards having a shot at goal.
Cats playing stop-start footy now. All Selwood can do is try and craft a kick down the line, a smart play.
Yeah, they've moved Lonergan forward. You see the J-Pod just cruising across that half-back line.
Motlop finds Josh Hunt.
And haven't picked up on it because Jay Brown has just charged down.
Christensen to Selwood, and Blitzarves can't hang on. Tried to for dear life, but couldn't. Black sorting it out again. This is where Brisbane have done some damage, some real damage. High ball, and again, it's that man Taylor who lets it wait this time because he was seeing what was skirting around, and it was Mackie, and now Podsy Adley. Plums for centre half forward. Lonergan in there. Big leap from Leuenberger. Had been towering influence in this last quarter. Redden, Stringer. Oh, brilliant to pick it up, but then he almost threw it, but he got boot to it. Black for Brown. Lonergan got a fingernail in. Wasn't enough to really affect the kick. This is Golby, and they surge again, the Lions.
And that's Golby's issue. He's got to get better at just gives the ball up too many times. You couldn't question his work rate. His desire to be a player is evident every time he plays, but got to add a bit more polish. Young player, it's going to get better.
Back to Harry Taylor. Now Podsy Adley. Cats really on the back foot. All the motion and their normal system has gone out the window. It's long down the line. It's Hawkins, Yo, Motlop. Oh, he's got him. Great tackling, and the boundary line saved him there.
They need to try and flick this one out the back if they can. Set up through the corridor of the Lions.
Steve Johnson. Taylor Hunt. Johnson again. Free kick to Black. Let's see how they react down the ground. Redden, some really tired legs out there.
Kick.
Dangerous kick. Stringer, one of the more fresher players on the ground. Motlop, a big tackle. It was a huge tackle. Stokes with the poke. It might come down to Steve Johnson. And he doesn't have the answers. But it's a handy one.
You're right, City. Good try. Oh, no, you stay, yeah.
Clark.
2-on-1 scenario, just needs to drop it forward, let it get to the back.
It got there eventually. No free kick. Staker kept it moving at all costs. Podsy Adley. Oh, Zorko, what an outstanding steal, and he gets it out of bounds. Not a bad result.
They need to change the angles though, even if their kick is across on a 45 long, because Geelong are setting up down the line with their spare at the moment. It's either Taylor, it's either Josh Hunt, Podsy Adley's gone back. You see Golby in the middle of the ground. That's where this ball needs to attract towards.
All class, Leuenberger to Black, and they're flowing again. Hanley from outside the 50, and Lyle not paid. McGrath over the top. Golby, he's curled it through. He's joined the joyride for the Lions. They're within 7 now.
Jed, a great call. You pointed Golby out on the screen, and the ball had to attract back that way. He was able to float forward all on his own.
Well, he looked a dangerous player. You have to go back to Leuenberger's tap though, Jono. It was superb. Golby's still there. He kept his width. He did to Geelong what Geelong had been doing to them all night. And this Irishman just continues to impress as a player. The All-Australian side met during the week. I hope they got his name down.
At the 21-minute mark of the third quarter, it was 52 points. Brisbane's biggest ever comeback from three-quarter time is 45 points. That was that famous game against Hawthorn when they went into the shade at three-quarter time. 38 was the margin here, and it's now back to 7.
Leuenberger dominating right now in these clearances.
Absolutely smashing them out of the middle. Maloney again. The give is sensational. Rockcliffe's turn. It's high, it's long, and it is marked by Brown. It's paid. Astonishing scenes at the Gabba. 6 goals to 1 in the last quarter.
Brent Maloney involved again, Hutto.
A stunned Geelong team watching on. Jonathan Brown, over the years, he's kicked some massive goals. Kicked 560 odd in his career. Few bigger than this, as the Lions only get behind.
It's a 7-point play, Hutto.
It is.
He's going for the 7-pointer. 1 goal down to draw level. 3 minutes of play remaining. What a freakish result this would be if the Lions could get over the line.
Hunt buys himself an extra 15. Kicks to the wing. Bartel. Motlop from one side. Here's Merritt. Nothing was going to stand in his way. The kick not perfect, Stokes, and you can't really call that deliberate because...
Had to do it. No,
Yeah.
that's a good decision.
He had the man there. Maloney with 11.
Has he got another 5 minutes left in him? Maloney, he has been superb. 2 goals, 1 in this last quarter with 11 possessions, 7 contested.
15-6 the clearances this quarter in Brisbane's favour.
Simon Black in his 317th game for memory.
Harwood back to Mackie. Slaps it on the boot. Christensen. Selwood. And again, another Geelong mistake. And it's there for Brisbane. 2 minutes remaining.
Got to be cool here, though. They've got to maintain possession.
Merritt down the line. Plenty of cats patrolling back there. But Staker takes the mark. Rich, the target, and Rich has got to get it. Daniel Rich turns, sets it to the top of the square. It goes on! It goes on! It scores a level! The pandemonium returns! This is extraordinary. 7 goals to 1. Where did it come from?
I've got no idea, Addo. What a result. Great comeback from the Lions, and Daniel Rich Excellent first quarter, quiet during the second and third, but what a man, Jared, to get the ball into his hands.
You'd like it in his hands again if you're a Brisbane Lions supporter. And full credit to Daniel Merritt at the other end of the ground. It was him that started. He got the turnaround. He got the rebound goal, or the rebound mark.
Staker's mark on the wing was just as good.
If they can do it, it'll be the 8th biggest comeback of all time. Down from 52 points. But Geelong are the pros. Let's see what they've got. Corey, deep to full forward. Any score handy at the moment as we get deep. And what a time! What a time for a Tom Hawkins. An absolute gem of a mark under pressure.
Do the set kick or watch the goal line.
Well, we know that Tom Hawkins made a specialty last year of kicking goals after the siren to win the game against Hawthorn. A different scenario here with still a minute on the clock. But Tom Hawkins knows what's at stake. He needed to score. He has the most unconvincing behind.
It's okay for the Lions, though. Kick-out's all right. They're going to get this ball 60 metres, 70 metres down the track. If they get a play on here as well, get it a bit further.
Staker down the line, no time to waste.
Ash McGrath's gone forward, looking for the fly ball.
Black, Rich.
He went too far forward, and Hunt did it magnificently.
45 seconds. Geelong lead by 1. They're going to try and maintain possession. Every mark, every handball, every kick, so vital. Selwood down the line. Dawson Simpson, the big man, in for his first, but he plays on to Corey. They'll be deep again. A mark here will win the game. Podsy Adley couldn't quite. It might win the game yet for Brisbane. Got himself into a difficult position. Yo. And now Black, who's been so instrumental, about to be hunted down, didn't panic. It was a great kick. Pat Full in the centre. We're down to 9 seconds. And it's a mark. He's got to get up, Adcock. Had to give to anybody. It's Zorko. Got a mark and he's got it. The milestone man. Siren sounds. And it's going to come down to Ash McGrath. This is better than a fairy tale. You can't dream these scenarios. Ashley McGrath in his 200th game are behind. Will create a draw. A goal will give the Lions an incredible victory. Ash McGrath comes in. It's on its way. It's there. The miracle on grass! The Brisbane Lions have kicked 8 goals in the last quarter, and at the 11th hour, they have won. Anything's possible after this. Anything, Jono.
I'm with you, Hutto. Don't worry about that. That was unbelievable. What a win from the Brisbane Lions. Oh, Jared.
Oh, you thought Port Adelaide was a big upset yesterday. Oh, I've never seen anything like it. And I don't think Chris Scott has as well. That is unbelievable. And what a pressure kick from the milestone man, Ash McGrath, to slide it through after the siren.
Well, you could have been excused at 3/4 time for turning the channel and doing something else, but that's why you should never turn it off.
That's right.